Alrighty, fam. You guys know the drill by now. Any given Sunday, Australia, we are proudly sponsored by Nut Care. Awesome product, Bear Nuts. Code at the checkout is any given Sunday. That's going to get you 10% off automatically applied for your first purchase. They're voted number one by Men's Health magazine just recently in the men's grooming space, I suppose you could say. They got products, Bear Nuts here. That's for your nuts. They got Bear Butts. That's for your butts. They got Comfy Nuts. That's for your butts and your nuts. They've got the Wood. Is that like a little after conditioning spray or something? A little.
It's a powder, so no non-chafing powder.
Non-chafing powder. There you go. So they got you covered for everything downstairs. Look after your ladies. Look after yourself by looking after your ladies by looking after yourself. That makes sense. Anyway, Absolutely. Code any given Sunday at the checkout, 10% off, automatically applied. Get around them.
Oh, this is too slow. I've done it here. It's Christmas time. Everything's slowing down a little bit. It'll be.
Brown 45! Brown 45! Hot, 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 hot!
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, Gridiron Australia head office, NFL Australia head office cards, as those on the social medias will see. All of the other places. I have just found out that when you push play, the intro does come on when you have to push play for it to actually work, which is good. Joining us, as always, down in his basement, wherever that may be, TC24, Tim Cardy, AGSAU. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Here we go. I've been wanting to bust that out for the last couple of weeks. Fucking Dak, so good.
All the Cowboys fans have just using that up there, and they're very excited.
Yeah, you can't not after he says it. But also, quickly, massive shout out, happy birthday to Megs. She's in the chat already. Unfortunately, her Seahawks couldn't get it done today against Here We Go and the boys. But yeah, happy birthday, Megs.
Happy birthday, Megs. Look at you all over it, looking after our super fans. Danny Boy is currently in the air, possibly. I know he's heading back. He told us he's heading back towards London. So hopefully we can catch him on our next episode. But, yeah, huge shout-out to all the Scandinavian countries that he did travel to, and he's left business cards just on every other door.
He's our reporter in the field. He's our marketing manager in the field. He's our, what would you say, like our
boots on the ground.
European liaison, boots on the ground.
Nice.
Yeah, we're growing in that European market for sure.
For everyone who listens to us on Spotify and has Spotify, I did my little roundup or recap, even though we've just started December. And we had a small growth in Denmark, which is huge.
Okay, there we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. It's going to be old by the end of the episode, but I don't care. I love it.
No, grouse. Just to start with, you've got some nice gear on, but mine's even nicer. It's from our merch store that you can find on our link tree. You can also get our DAZN or Danzen Game Pass code. Head into there. It's getting cheaper. It's pretty much paid for itself with the playoffs coming up. You don't want to miss all that kind of stuff. So make sure you head up to our link tree that you can find on all of our socials.
Easiest way to get across everything.
Get across everything. And like we said, we're adding more stuff to our merch store every week. It's awesome. Good for Christmas. Good for birthday, Megs, if you're listening.
I had the Seahawks Any Given Sunday shirt on last episode, Megs. Go back and check it out.
You did. You didn't look crisp. Look real good. All right, we're going to jump into today's game. Like you said, the Seahawks at the Cowboys could not get the job done, but was quite a very high offense game, which is what we want to see. We don't want to see the 10, 12
Thursday
games.
prime time has been struggling a little bit. So
yes,
Thursday and Monday actually both been struggling, but good. Yeah, high scoring. Kind of came down to the last couple of minutes. Like Seattle still had a chance. Micah Parsons and the Cowboys defense put a stop to that in the end, but at least it came down to the last few minutes and that last drive, and it was a good game. Like they smashed the overs, which we talked about, and you were right that Seattle covered. I think a few lines blew out to, was it 9.5 when we talked about it in our preview app?
Yep, it was, because I said it was going to be closer to that.
Yeah, the Seahawks covered. So you were right, we were right. Everybody was right.
Yeah,
but a good game finally.
It was. And it was, like we said, high octane, a lot of offense. 41-35 was the final score. Dallas moves on to 9-3. Seahawks, good for the Packers, moved to 6-6.
Still in the hunt. Definitely still in the hunt there at 6-6.
Oh no, right in the middle of it. But just look, and it's a game that they would have looked at and said, look, they're not penciling it down for a win for sure. So to be 35-41 in Dallas as well is huge. So Geno threw 23 of 41, 344 for 3 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but DK Metcalf had an absolute day. 6 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 134 yards, and learning during the week that he was getting in a lot of trouble for like mouthing off and having a go at the opposition. So he's actually learned sign language.
Did you see this? Yeah, he learned sign language for 34, or who it is, can't cover me, little boy, or something. It was so good.
Yeah, I love it. So he was absolutely getting into them as he strolled over for 3 touchdowns. Smith and Jigba also had a day, 7 receptions for 62 yards. A little bit of a coming out party for him, which is good. And for those who have Zach Charbonnet on their fantasy teams, 19 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Geno Smith also rushed for a touchdown. But the Cowboys, Dak did what Dak does. He's kind of putting the haters to bed a little bit, I think. I'm one of those haters, and he's made my bed. He hasn't put me in it yet, but he's making my bed. 29 of 41, 299, 3 touchdowns. Pollard, 20 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. CD Lamb, just the last 5 weeks, he's been absolutely explosive. 12 receptions, 116 yards, touchdown. Ferguson, the big tight end.
Big boy, he was getting a few little verbal splashes too.
He was very jawry early, wasn't he? Yeah, 6 receptions, 77 and a touchdown. So great game for the Cowboys, and bad luck Megs on that. But yeah, like you said, great game. It's not the 10-12 that we had on Monday night, which realistically we don't want.
No, exactly. We want to see, when it's a standalone game, that's all you got to watch. You want to watch something exciting and some good product. And yeah, to your point, Dak was just looking so comfortable every time he had the ball. Never really looked rushed, which was interesting. Like, he did get sacked 4 times. And so the Seattle defense, comparing their stats to the Dallas defense, like they had the 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. And the Dallas defense only had 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss. But despite that, you might think that then maybe the Cowboys would have struggled a little bit more on offense just with those stats there. But Dak was just able to manage the game beautifully. And an interesting stat, it was only the 5th game in NFL history where they didn't have a punt. So there was a couple of occasions where I think nice ball. Where I think
our boy Dixon was he got paid to sit there on the bench today. He did well.
Oh right, not a bad gig. But there was a definitely at least one time where I saw Seattle went for it on 4th down and
missed. They didn't get it.
And the like. So yeah, just interesting that only 5th game in NFL history where there's no punts. But yeah, both I think, and probably looking at the stats too, maybe Kenneth Walker missing for the Seahawks might have been a bit of the difference. Like in the air, both teams were pretty similar stat wise, but on the ground, that's where the Cowboys sort of stood out a little bit more, just in terms of their raw numbers.
They did have the ball a lot more. Like I think it was halfway through the 3rd, and Cowboys had clocked up their 50th play, and Seahawks were down in the low 30s. Like it was just they just held the ball and then just ran the clock a lot better. Yeah,
and just talking about the Dallas defense quickly, Daron Bland, he was sort of getting whoever he was matched up against, whichever wide receiver he was matched up against, they were kind of targeting it a little bit, it seemed like. And he was having a bit of a tough day at the office, but then he came away with the only interception for the day and probably maybe what could have turned out to be a game-changing, game-winning sort of interception. So good to see him get a little one back after probably getting tailed up a little bit in the first half for sure.
Yeah. There was I think it was six targets for 135 yards against him at one point. Which
and he was rolling through Metcalf, Smith and Jigba and Lockett, or like through all those sort of guys that are going to get lots of targets. And they were going through him a bit. And so to get that interception, good for him. Good little win for him.
Yeah, he's kind of stepped up in the Diggs role. Like he's had 8 think it's only his second season. He's had 8 takeaways and 5 of them, pick sixes, which is now a record. So he's kind of been that real aggressive cornerback, taking that Diggs role that they lost earlier this year.
Yeah, he's stepping up a bit, and like I said, he's a young player, he's a rookie, so that'll do a world of good for his confidence after getting smashed in that first half.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's lacking confidence. Don't you worry about that.
Oh no, well yeah.
All right, let's move on to some news, and our news is brought to us by our good friends, newly married, like we said last week. Congratulations to them.
Congrats,
CGC Rare Threads, they are back, I believe. Back on Australian land, bringing back, like you mentioned last week, Carts. They've gone and got more connections. They're building their stocks. So make sure you hit them up. 10% off with the code Any Given Sunday. But huge supporters. So go check them out. The news that we have this week, mate, I'm sure you're probably in the chat having a chat to everyone at the moment. So I'll have a quick talk about the news that we've got. Aaron Rodgers. So Danny sent this to us, because he obviously gets it when we're asleep.
Yeah. He's our nighttime correspondent.
Yes, we wake up to 16 stories, and Zach Ertz has been let go. He wants him back at the Eagles. That'll be an interesting story to see what plays out there. JJ Watt was the one who actually dropped that story, so that's huge.
But
Aaron Rodgers
flexed on Adam Schefter as
well.
Well,
didn't he? He's like, I'm just crossing all paths. Aaron Rodgers come out on the Pat McAfee show and just said, look, it all depends on how I'm feeling, how the team's going. And then it seems like less than 24 hours later, it's all about how he's pretty much going to come back regardless.
Wow. I don't think so. I still read it as the Jets have to be alive. He has to make big improvements within the next week at training.
Well, he's off IR, though.
Yeah, he's off IR. He's cleared for practice.
Yeah. Which I think that's huge, the fact that he's off IR. So he's got 4 weeks, 21 training days to be back.
All they're doing, they're leaving the door ajar. I still think it's a higher possibility he's not playing than he will be.
You'd think so.
It's
4 and 7. 4 and 7.
And so there's, I think, I saw some analytics. There's a 1% chance of the Jets making playoffs, making the postseason. So,
so you're saying there's a chance.
They've got wow, yeah, exactly. You're right. That does still say there's a chance, but they've got the Falcons this week. If they lose that, they're dead. It's gone. And he's not going to risk coming back for no chance to play.
You wouldn't have thought so.
Finals. Yes, he wanted to do something unprecedented, and he wanted to do something that hadn't been done before, but the risk versus reward, because he's still he can move around. He said he can drop back, he can work within a little circle, but he has to be able to do more to protect himself. He's not there yet. So the reward weighed up against the risk. It's not there yet.
And it's not only the risk of hurting your Achilles again. If he can't move that properly, he's going to have 130 kilo blokes just absolutely pounding him.
He's turning
shoulders
40
and knees.
40 on Saturday. You get some young buck come through and get a good shot at him. There's a whole bloody range of injuries and things that could happen. Not to mention the Achilles that is still recovering. It's not quite there yet. Yeah, he can move, drop back, and throw a pass, and it looks good on just a short video. It's wow, that's amazing. And there's ridiculous conspiracy theories that he didn't tear it and all that sort of stuff, which is rubbish. He did. He's coming back quicker. He's progressing quicker than most people ever before, and so that's pretty incredible in itself. But I mean, he's not coming back.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he's coming back. And even the way that he was answering those questions, it was leading more towards I'm not coming back, but there is the option there. There is a slight option there, but he's not coming back.
No, I don't think so. It does kind of lead into the next segment, so I'm going to go with it. Once I again.
We've been good at segues
for questions without notice.
I just got to remember to push the play button.
It's like the sideways triangle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. No, you're right. So my question for you today, and it kind of, I think they will be a part of it as well. So it's a 2-part question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It is regarding the AFC and the NFC, just the teams that are on the brink at the moment, without obviously knowing their run home and who they've played against, who they've got to play. I'm just going to give you the stats of who they are, and I want you to pick who you think takes the 7th spot in AFC, NFC. Yeah?
Okay.
Picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there. So the current standings. So in the 7th spot of the AFC, we're not going to go 6, just the 7th. The Indianapolis Colts are 6-5. And on their heels, they've got the Texans. Sorry. Yeah, they're 7th. So on their heels, the Texans are 6-5. Denver are 6-5. Buffalo are 6-6. Cincinnati 5-6. And probably your boys at 5-7.
So
Houston,
there's a chance.
you're saying there's a chance. Colts, Texans, Broncos, Bills. I'll probably almost rule out Cincinnati, but Cincinnati and Vegas. Who do you see kind of stealing that 7th spot?
Purely based off form and at the current form at the moment, it's got to be the Broncos.
Yeah.
Just based off what all the available data, just looking at everyone's current form, it's the Broncos. I would be worried about the Bills. They are playing good football. They did lose to the Eagles last week. And like you said, don't know. Actually, no, I do know they've got a very tough schedule coming up. So probably if it's going to come down to Bills or Broncos and not knowing the Broncos schedule, but knowing how poorly they did last year, you got to assume it's pretty soft. Yeah, probably the Broncos are the biggest danger team. Colts, it's awesome that they're in there. Would love to see them get back into playoffs, but I don't know. I just feel like they're probably not as reliable.
Yep.
Maybe. And the Texans, again, would love to see them make it for CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans, both first year coach and rookie quarterback. But again, they might have that drop away just because of those reasons. The most probably the safest bet would be the Broncos maybe at the moment to grab that.
Definitely got the experience, Sean Payton, Russell Wilson connection as well.
They've been there. They've done it. They're in an awesome patch of form. They're playing good football. And I'm thinking that their schedule is probably going to be a little bit softer just based off last year. But so the Colts too should probably have a reasonably soft schedule.
Yeah.
They didn't perform too well last year. They were pick 4 in the draft, so they were terrible. So their schedule should be pretty soft. So yeah, interesting.
Well, this week, Houston, Denver.
I know that, and that might decide a fair bit moving forward.
That could go a long way, especially if it does come down being pretty tight. The head-to-head battle will determine who goes ahead. So yeah, so you're pretty much saying that Cincinnati and your boys are done.
Yeah, I'm happy to put a line through those two, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's hard because they were such a contender at the start. But I think just of knowing who they have to play still, the Bills, I'll probably put a line through them too.
Yeah. Nice. I like it. Controversial.
Tough call. Controversial, but tough call. But I think it's just the mountain's too steep for them now. They dropped too many close games.
And realistically, Pittsburgh and Cleveland are only 7-4, only one game ahead of those 4 teams that we mentioned. So 2 or 3 of them could make it as well. So
we could see a massive shuffle, but yeah.
NFC side.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's pretty tight. The top 5, oh no, definitely not the top 5, but the 5th spot, Dallas has got that pretty well sewn up. Either Dallas or Philly, they've got that sewn up. They're 3 games clear, so they've definitely got it. So Minnesota's in the 6, and Seattle is currently in the 7. Minnesota 6-6, Seattle 6-6, Green Bay 5-6, Rams 5-6, New Orleans 5-6. Tampa Bay's 4-7, but they're probably on the outside, I reckon. If they're gonna get it, they're gonna get it in Atlanta's only 5-6, so they'll get it by winning their division, not by sneaking into the 7th spot, I reckon. So Minnesota, Seattle, Green Bay, LA, or New Orleans.
Ooh.
That's for 2 spots though as well.
That's for 6 and 7.
6 and 7.
I feel like, and you're gonna love it, but I could see Vikings dropping out, Packers rolling in, and probably the Seahawks taking 6, maybe the Packers taking 7.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know. Are the Saints Saints are winning their division, are they?
Nah, so Atlanta is.
Oh, Atlanta is. Okay.
No, it's Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay. They're all the same.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's tricky. So whoever wins that division will get in regardless. Yeah, I think I can see the Vikings dropping out.
Yeah, and again, goes back to last year. They made the playoffs. They have a pretty tough schedule coming up. Where Green Bay, we've got the Chiefs. We've got the Chiefs this week. Then we got 3 or 4 pretty not easy games, but
performance. Yeah, your schedule should be a bit easier than theirs. Yeah,
and we've got the head-to-head against LA as well, so that helps us.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't trust the Rams. Like, for whatever reason, they haven't impressed me much. Even though they're 5-6, like it's not a terrible record yet, but
and 4-1 in their division, but they've only played. They got to place the 49ers again.
Yeah.
So that's their one was the 49ers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I'm happy with that.
Nice. Hey, good for us. Not good for draft,
you'll be
draft
happy,
picks, but I'm happy that we've played playoffs. So nice, mate. Nice. That's good little chat you had there. So we'll move on to this week's previews. So I've picked 3 games. I'll go through the rest of the games.
Before you move on quickly, Megs just wants a rundown of what that green ball up is behind your left shoulder.
The green ball?
Correct.
I'm a bit stiff. No, it's our Aussie punters. I always try and we wanted to get a Mailata jersey. But as we said, he sat on the pine for the entire day, Michael Dixon. But yeah, it's a Michael Dixon signed Seahawks ball. I'm not happy that it's all green. I was preferring it to be an actual ball, but it's an Aussie, so I'll take it. It's sitting in front of my Green Bay stuff, which I hate.
So that's huge. She knew him in Sydney, she says.
What was that?
She knew him in Sydney.
Oh, well, get onto him. Get him to come on the show. What are you doing, Meg? Stop us out. All right, the game previews. I'll go through the rest of the games without the ones we're previewing. A couple of big games. Chiefs, Packers, like I said. Chargers, Patriots could be a good one. Shit game, but could be a good game. Cardinals, Steelers, Colts, Titans we're going to talk about. Broncos, Texans we're going to talk about. Lions and Saints, that could be big in that 5th, 6th spot that we're talking about just then. Falcons, Jets, Dolphins, Commanders, Panthers, Bucks, Niners, Eagles we'll talk about. Browns, Rams, and good game Tuesday, possibly. Bengals, Jags. I reckon the Jags get the win there. That's not my lock. I just think that's going to happen. Because we will finish with our ever popular lock of the week. First game we're going to talk about Colts versus the Titans. We've kind of gone a couple of teams that we don't always talk about. And I wanted to talk about this one because of the Colts. Like we said, they're in that 7th spot at the moment, and they're looking pretty good. And I think the Titans have been – Will Levis kind of came in, a little bit of a flash in the pan. He kind of dropped away a little bit. I don't know. You're going to get the lines and everything up, I'm hoping.
Got him.
But I think the Colts, like they did late last year, will come in and get the job done against the Titans.
The Colts will get the done. Sorry, I was re-getting the line. You think the Colts will get the job done?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've got the better record. They're playing for more.
Jonathan Taylor is out, though.
Oh, that's huge. I didn't know that. Minshew, obviously a much more experienced quarterback than Will Levis. So there goes that. Shane Steichen, the new coach of the Colts, has been doing well. The line is actually only 1.5. The Colts are favorite there in Tennessee. I feel like the Colts will get it done too. I think just more to play for.
Yep.
Taylor out that hurts a lot.
Well, it says questionable, but he had surgery, so I'm imagining he's out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if he's had surgery, it's not looking great. But yeah, divisional game, like you said.
58% of the cash is on the Colts.
Yeah, that probably sounds about right. It's not. Yeah, it's close to 50-50 split. No, yeah, I'm leaning towards the Colts on this one.
Yeah, and 1.5, so it's a pick 'em game. But yeah, I definitely think the Colts. Minshew he's a good little game manager. Zach Moss has been pretty big lately. I don't think Derrick Henry's been as enormous as he has been in the past as well. Like, they can't lean on him as much anymore. He's getting older. He's enormous still, but he's had 176 carries for 739 yards, which, look, it's no laughing.
Nothing
He's
to
done.
sneeze at, but
Yeah, he's still top 5, but only 6 touchdowns as well. So not enormous
I
generation
heard
from
him on the
him.
scoreboard. Yeah.
So I agree. I do think the Colts will get the job done.
Yeah.
And just help their chances of sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, it helps lock down their spot as they're currently in the 7th spot there.
Yeah. Nice. Next game is the Texans versus Broncos. Another game that, well, we already mentioned it. I think this will be a huge game for both sides. Where's my thing? There it is. Huge game. I think this goes a long way towards who makes playoffs, in my opinion. I'm not going to give a winner because that might come later on without giving too much away.
Oh, okay.
Do you have the line?
Yeah, sorry, stand by.
You're right.
Roll through me 1,000 tabs I got open. Where are we? 3-point favorites. The Texans are at home, which is interesting.
Yeah, 55%
I
of
was
cash.
a bit surprised when I saw that. 3-point favorites.
They have been a wagon, though, the Texans, so I'm not surprised.
$1.59 head-to-head. Broncos $2.40.
55% of the money is on the Texans, which, again, I don't know. I like them. I think they've definitely been a wagon of late. CJ Stroud, we can't talk highly enough of how he's been, but it's. I think it comes on the other. They've had no problem scoring. It's whether the Broncos are going to be able to score against the Texans defense. That's the big question. If they can come out and generate a score, which Russell Wilson hasn't really been moving the ball that well. He's just been doing enough to get the wins and relying on his defense. Where I think the Texans offense is good enough to tear apart the Broncos defense. Yeah,
I think so. And I've been guilty of not trusting or getting around the Broncos in this little 5-game run that they're on.
5 in a row, yeah.
5 in a row. So I don't know, this will be the game that I'll pick them and the Texans will wipe the floor with them. So
yeah, 100%. And
this is going to be a tough week. Sorry, go ahead.
We put them in our top 10, which made it into the NFL Australia this week. And it was because of that 5 in a row. And they've beaten the Bills, they've beaten the Chiefs. They've had some really good wins in that, but I reckon it's on the defense that they've been getting the job done, not necessarily the offense. They're not the high scoring offense that Russell Wilson used to be. He's lucky to throw 160 yards a game. I think they're going to be pushing shit uphill, but they've been doing it the last few weeks and getting the job done. But even for the year, Wilson 2018, 218 of 319 for pretty much 2,200 yards. Stroud's only thrown 30 more passes or completed 30 more.
Yep.
And he's over 1,000 yards further. He's nearly 3,300.
Yeah, even looking at last week, he was only 134 yards in the air. He rushed a little bit on the ground. What do you have, 34? Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to come down to whether that Broncos defense can get the scores against the Houston defense.
What's the overs, mate?
47.5, I think it was.
47?
47.5, yeah. So
wow. They're expecting both defenses to crumble as well.
They're expecting a bit of a point fest, which, this is tough. I'm going to have to go Broncos just because I've burnt them the last 5 weeks. So now I'll go them and they'll burn me, but that's how it goes.
All right, I'm going to keep mine in my back pocket until our number one segment.
I like it.
Lucky last game, which, again, you said it before we come on. This is a primetime game in every sense of the word.
Just
Eagles,
except the time slot that they're playing at.
except for the time slot. They are playing it. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock our time, which I think is actually pretty good because I'll be able to wake
It's brilliant for us. Brilliant for us.
Just get into it. So, it's a bit of a redemption game. I know it doesn't make up for it at all, but definitely a redemption game for the 49ers. But this is the first time it was, I can't remember how many years, or there wouldn't be a 10-1 team too often. So it could be ever that a 10-1 team is underdogs going into a game.
At home.
At home, which is enormous.
Why?
So,
and 3-point underdogs too.
Like, why do you think they're underdogs? Like, they've been playing good football. They're 10-1. Like, I know San Fran's coming out in there and, you know, I think it's 3 in a row now or 4 in a row after they went on that little shitty streak.
I think it's 3 in a row after their little hiccup.
But why are they underdogs? Like, I don't quite understand.
Like, I think a lot of things get factored into favorites and doing the lines and all that sort of stuff, and it's not always just about out and out record. It's like, yeah, I suppose they're taking into account the history, the way that game went last year in the NFC final. I guess that's factoring in, maybe, but I mean, the Eagles haven't put a foot wrong, really, like, since they dropped that one game. They haven't been smashing teams, which, I don't know, so that probably comes into it a little bit as well. Like,
but they've also had the hardest strength.
Well, that's exactly right. Like, the 49ers have been putting some hurt on teams. So just looking at the point differential for the two teams now, it's 140 plus to the 49ers, and the Eagles are only, but 64 plus. So the 49ers have been putting the hurt on some teams, and like, that's fine. But yeah, it just feels like it's not enough respect being paid to the Eagles. And like, you see the way that like Nick Sirianni, like, he obviously listens to what's being said and things like that. Like, he's got some really good videos of him coming off the field at like opposition grounds, like yelling at fans and yelling down the tunnel and stuff like that. So like, they hear all this noise. Like, so they're going to roll it. Well, they're at home knowing that they're underdogs. They're going to play with all those chips on their shoulders. Like, I like the 49ers, and like, it's hard to tip against them, but there's just so much more reason to tip the Eagles, I think, than the 49ers.
What's the line? Surely it's like a 1.5.
3.
3? Jesus.
49ers are 3-point favorites away.
Just looking at the Eagles' last 5, so they've beaten Miami at home, then they went to Washington and got the job done, but then they've beaten Dallas at home, Kansas in Kansas, Buffalo at home. Well, they're 4 of the top 5 teams going around at the moment. Like, I know Buffalo's in a bit of a down, but could it be, you know, are they due for a loss? Like, they've beaten 4 quality teams there. Like, you can't keep staying up week after week, can you?
Of course you can.
Yeah, you play for a pretty very good team in your football league. How do you keep yourself up every week? You're the hunted every week. How do you keep yourself up?
Well, you know, so it's like, you know, that every week everyone's setting themselves for the game against you. Like, you're the hunted, so you have to bring it each and every week. Otherwise, you'll fall away pretty quickly, because you know everyone is setting themselves to play you, and the Eagles would 100% be in that mindset right now.
Saying that, I think they win.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I think it could be an absolute.
I love the 49ers, and I love the way they go about it, but you got to respect where it's due. Like, it's Eagles at home.
It goes back to what we said about the Chiefs last year. We've got to pick them until they give us a reason not to.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that theory. And like, going back to the 49ers and that little 3-game stretch they had, and Samuel was out for that, but they lost to Cleveland, the Vikings, and then the Bagels. So I suppose they did still have Joey Burrow at that point, and then they've beaten the Jaguars, the Buccaneers, and the Seahawks. So maybe, you know, not the same strength of schedule that, like you said, like the Eagles have been coming off. So yeah, the fact that they're 3-point favorites, is it all just based off the NFC Championship game last year, and like, oh, if everyone was healthy, like, I don't know.
I'm a little bit bewildered, but yeah, look, and I think Trent Williams was probably, like, Deebo Samuel is a big loss, but Trent Williams, the left tackle, who's probably the best left tackle in the game, he was probably a bigger loss, I reckon. So having him back the last 3-game stretch has been enormous for them. So, but yeah, I still think the Birds at home. Danny will be happy to hear it. The Birds at home are going to be really tough to beat.
They deserve our tip this week for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Our number one segment, just to finish us off, round us off nicely, mate. What is our number one segment?
It's the hashtag AGSLOTW. Well, I started getting now. It's just the lock of the week. We missed it last week. As we said, we took a little bit of a break for the Thanksgiving weekend. We had a bit of a spell. We took thanks. we gave
thanks.
We gave thanks. That's right. I like that. Sorry, just as I'm quickly writing down in my little notepad what everyone is tipping. But if you want to get into Danny's pick and where that's at the moment, while I'm quickly doing
this. Did Danny give us a pick? I don't think he has.
No, as we said, he's still in transit, so he's going to get us his pick before.
He's got a game time pick, so we're being generous. We're going to allow it up to Sunday. Generous.
We're going to give him a little bit of grace just because he is overseas at the moment. You're up next, and you are still out in front by 1, so you're up next.
So am I up by 1 over everyone? It's used 3 all on the same.
Correct.
All right, so my 1, like I said, I've already given away which game it was, and I reckon if you listen to the way I was talking, it probably gives it away which way I was leaning. I'm going the Texans over the Broncos as my lock of the week. I reckon CJ Stroud will walk in there and get the job done.
I like it, and that's a tough game. We've kind of talked about it a little bit. We're trying to keep things a little bit interesting, not just going for the straight out home run, keeping it a little bit interesting. So that's good because that's a tough game to pick. I could easily swing either way on that game. So good for you, mate. Charlie Pickering, he's chucked in his pick to you, I believe.
He did. Yep. He went. I've given it to you and I've forgotten about it. So out right here, he's gone the Dolphins over the Commanders. So probably a little bit safer.
Probably a little bit safer. That's okay.
Yeah. He's just trying to get the runs on the
Where
ball.
Is that game? Whose home game is that?
Yeah. I reckon it's at the Dolphins as well, which I will confirm for you.
It's at Washington. Okay, so you're 100% wrong. It's at Washington.
It is at Washington. I was 50-50 chance and I got it wrong.
No, I like it. I said to you off air that I'm going with a team that I haven't picked before. It's probably
it's not controversial, but it's
still it's not on the dangerous side by any means. But I'm going to go with the Bucks. So the Bucks are at home to the Panthers. So divisional game. The Bucks have got a better record. Win? Yeah, they should win. So the Bucks have got a better record. We all know the Panthers struggles with Bryce Young down there, Frank Reich getting fired. So, is that new coach bump this week?
I was about to say.
No! You can see the wheels turning in my head. So I have to stick with it because I said it. But fuck, new coach bump.
I think I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think it's 100% winning record.
I feel like it is.
With the new coach bounce. Ooh, shit.
Oh no!
I should have gone on that. That would have been a great pick to go. Do you know what? Carolina, new coach.
Imagine if I did. Imagine if I had the awareness, but
the fortitude.
No. Anyway, I'm going to stick with the Bucks against the new coach bump. So wish me luck.
What is the what are they paying? What are the odds in that game?
The Bucks are
do they factor in the new coach?
$42 to $2.90. The Bucks are favorite at home.
They haven't factored it in. I think we quickly get on that before they factor it in.
Bookies don't know. Watch that crunch in. Oh, shit. Quickly, just in the chat, Megs is locking in the Jags, which we love to see the fam getting around it, which we might put out a little bit of a post on X this week and start to get everyone's locks of the week. Hashtag LOTW.
Just watch that blow up because our Twitter and our Instagram is just going absolutely red hot at the moment.
What's Twitter?
X, I apologize.
Oh, X, yeah, sorry, yeah. I know what you're talking
Formerly known as.
Yeah. Hey, we're nearly at 40 minutes. We need to wrap this baby up.
Oh, I apologize. It's been too fun. Good work. Fun. Good luck to your Raiders. I don't know who they're playing.
Neither do I. We're coming off the bye, so we had a great week against the bye. No, we're on the bye.
Coming up to the bye. That's what you meant to
Got
say.
the bye. I knew. Yeah, no, because I've got Devontae Adams in a couple of my fantasy teams, so I knew.
That's true. Yes. Charlie also said that he believes the Bills will get the job done against the bye this week.
Right, I like that. Love to hear that.
It's
Good luck to them.
50-50, but there's a chance.
Magic
Good luck to my Packers against the Chiefs. I actually think ever since we've had Matt LaFleur, I know we're going long, but ever since Matt LaFleur, we've never lost in December.
Well, you need to keep winning if you're a chance to stay alive. So
if we win this, put it now. If we win this game, we're in the playoffs.
All right, 40 minutes and 20 seconds.
We are in.
Mark it down.
Lock it in. All right, mate. Good luck to everyone. Go the Packers. We'll speak to you soon.
And happy birthday to Meg. Thanks for jumping in.